Blessa and I are literally giving out free toys or gift cards for toys in a massive giveaway to everyone who uses the link down below in my description to enter. But be sure to stay tuned for more details. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So first, I am like redecorating my office. You might not be able to tell, but my desk is like completely different right now. I'm in between monitors. It's a whole thing. So yeah. So if anything in this video seems a little bit off in terms of setup, that's why. But other than that, today we're going to be doing just a fat acceptance TikTok reaction to start off the month because I took off all last week. My dad was visiting and we just went around town doing a whole bunch of stuff. We saw 3 different concerts. It was very fun. But now I'm back and I'm getting into the swing of things. Today we're getting back into the swing of things with a fat activism TikTok reaction. So let's just get into it. Actually, first off, because I know I'm going to get questions about my earrings, I do want to shout out where I got these from. I got these from the queer art market, like I think it's called Fruity Arts Fest, that happened during Pride in Denver. And I took a screenshot of the person who made them so I could give them a shout out, and I will have their Instagram and their shop linked down below. The person who made these was named Cordelia Elise, and I love them. They're little strawberries. So yeah, if you like those, go check those out. I don't know her. She does not know me. She did not ask me to do this. I'm just wearing these earrings, and I know people are probably going to ask about them. So I'm sharing them here. Okay, so the first person we're going to react to is Marissa Matthews, who, if you've seen any of these videos before, she's a pretty frequently occurring character, and I have done like whole videos on her as well, but she is responding to a comment on TikTok that says, "I'm sorry, but being obese is not a good thing. I know, I've been fighting it all my life. Maybe you should fight it too." And this is what she has to say about that.
"I'm sorry, but being obese is not a good thing. I know, I've been fighting it all my life. Maybe you should fight it too." That's what you sound like in my head, okay? 1, stop telling me that my existence is wrong or bad or not valid, because that's not cool. And where the fuck did I ask for your fucking advice on my body or my weight? Where did I ask? Where did I ask? Where did I ask? Where did I ask? Oh, I got some pizza stuff on my face. That's okay. Well, where did I ask? Where did I ask? Where did I ask for your advice? Oh, wait, nowhere. Never once have I asked for your advice on my body or my weight in my entire fucking life. So I don't know why you're here giving it to me. I don't know why. I don't know why you're harassing me with this information. I don't know. But you really should take this projection and then continue hating on yourself instead of me. Because there's no need to project your own self-hatred onto me. You should just keep that to yourself and either work on it by following people and pages like mine, or staying in your miserable fucking world and leaving fat people alone, because I don't need to know about you or your life. I never asked, because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck that you've been fighting obesity your whole life, because guess what? That's not really a thing. But it does sound like you've had a miserable life doing it. So why don't you just stay in your own little bubble, stop projecting, leave me the fuck alone, because I didn't ask.
The first thing that I always take issue with Marissa is just the tone in which she responds to people. Because even if it's like a seemingly well-meaning comment or it's somebody talking about their own experiences, she always remains very condescending and very, in my opinion, annoying. And I just don't think that helps her cause at all. I think it works directly against her cause, quite frankly, because a lot of the stuff she says really isn't that different from what other fat activism creators say on TikTok. And it's just the way in which she says it for me personally. Other big issue with her is she often uses phrases like harassment, to categorize these comments that she gets about obesity and her weight and on her TikTok page, which like she does talk about a lot of other aspects of her life besides being obese and fat activism, but a lot of her content is based around fat activism. I can understand that like if you're continually getting comments on your videos that have nothing to do with your fat activism work about that are like this, that it would get annoying and you might feel the need to retaliate. But I think using the phrases like harassment, in some of her other videos, she'll use the term consent, which I have talked about her use of that word in other videos that I've made about her, I think is really damaging. The instances when people use those words for what they actually mean, especially when it comes to consent. Like when you're a person online, and harassment, honestly, when you are a person online, you are subjecting yourself to people's criticisms, to people's opinions on you. And even if you don't like them or you don't agree with them, like you still are opening yourself up to that. And does that give people the right to just be assholes? No, it doesn't. But I think using phrases like I don't consent to that, or you're harassing me just by leaving a comment on a video saying like, hey, being obese maybe isn't the best thing, maybe you should work on it. I don't see that as harassment or violating your consent because you are posting online about the topic, right? And so I think her use of those phrases is really damaging to people who need to use them for actual harassment and actual violations of consent. And that's something that's always really bothered me. And I think that was like the main reason why I wanted to talk about this video, because it's just another perfect example of her doing that. And yeah, because she does that a lot in a lot of her videos, and she uses these big words. And for me, they always have, and it might just sound stupid to say, but like words matter, like phrasing matters. And I think she uses these words as like a shield maybe to make people feel more sympathy for her in her content, because they are big words and they do matter. But I think in the way she uses them, it cheapens them for the rest of the people who may actually need to use like, oh, I'm being harassed. Oh, my consent was violated. This had really nothing to do with like her fat activism stance, more just how she goes about it and the words she chooses to use, because it always irritates me when I see that. But before we get into the rest of today's video, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Balessa. Now, Balessa is a longtime friend of the channel, but if you don't know who or what Balessa is, it is a by women company for all things sexual wellness. Balessa's main mission is to empower everyone to explore, embrace, and celebrate their sexuality. Now, I had been a customer for a long time of Balessa before they even reached out to me, but they are still kind enough to send me things to show you, so I want to feature two of my favorite products today. The first toy they sent me this month is the Pebble, which I think this is a great option for people who are new to any kind of toy and are big fans of external stimulation. This one offers suction and vibration, and both of those features can be controlled independently, and it is ergonomically built to fit in the palm of your hand very easily. And for those of us who are familiar with toys, will understand how big of a deal that this one doesn't have any annoying patterns. They also sent me the Thump, which I recommend to literally anybody who asks me about these kinds of things, because this thing is kind of like the Swiss Army knife of vibrators, if you will. It does it all. It vibrates, it suctions, and you guessed it, it thumps using Balessa's innovative thumping technology. This was designed to be your go-to for all things external stimulation, and like most of Balessa's other toys, it comes in a very discreet case, and this case also holds a charge, which means that these things virtually never die if you keep the case charged, which is very nice. It is also waterproof and USB rechargeable, and it's made from premium quality silicone. And I'm very pleased to report that my friends and I at Balessa are sending out free toys or gift cards for toys to everyone that enters the giveaway down below in my description. Be sure to click the link down below and please let me know what you got, because I'm nosy and I like seeing what everybody gets. Thank you so much to Balessa for continuing to be a sponsor on my channel, and as always, thank you so much to you guys for continuing to interact with my content so that brands like Balessa want to keep working with me. Okay, now let's get back into the video. Okay, so this is a two-parter with a creator that I featured in my last one, and the first one, they are reacting to a comment saying, eat less, move more. In 99% of cases, it is that simple.
Another statistic that I'm just gonna out of thin air is that 99% of people who leave comments like this do not know a single fat person and need to go and get some hobbies and stop trolling fat folks on the internet. Okay, so it really is that simple, and I hope that helps.
So then someone commented on that TikTok saying, as someone who was obese and is now a healthy weight, it's absolutely about being honest with ourselves and stop making excuses. I made excuses for years, and when I stopped lying to myself and made a real effort, my life changed. And this is what this creator had to say to that.
This is why I say that unlearning our internalized fat phobia does more for our own health and the health of everybody around us, including children and young people, than any diet ever could. Because coming on the internet, seeing a video where a fat person says calories in and calories out actually doesn't work, and this is your comment, and you're projecting all of this onto someone you don't know, that's a lot. That's a lot. First of all, I wasn't asking. That video was not a call to action for diet and weight loss advice. I literally don't care. I am not going to spend my life worrying about calorie deficits, calories in, calories out. That's really fucking boring. I have more important things to put my attention to. No, that doesn't mean I don't care about my health. Don't get it twisted. But this is really harmful, because if this is the kind of way in which you're speaking to people, there are people who are going to internalize this. And again, it's a projection. I get that. But like, this is really negative. And I wouldn't speak to anybody in this way. And I just think that if you genuinely wanted to help fat people or care about fat folks, maybe don't be so negative or abrasive. Also, don't offer diet advice when it's not actually warranted or asked for. You know, consent is a real thing.
Okay, again, I saved these a long time ago. I forgot that the whole consent conversation ties into this one as well. Again, as someone who posts things online about things that people have pretty strong opinions about either way, I understand you're not overtly consenting to people being mean to you, but like in a way you are consenting to people also lending their opinions to what you're saying online. And the original video was responding to a comment about calories in, calories out. 99% of the time that's what worked. So I could understand how a commenter would make the then leap to say, actually, it is about taking responsibility for our choices, blah, 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 right? I didn't find anything abrasive about the comment about having to stop making excuses for ourselves, because I think that is the main catalyst to starting to lose weight, just from my own experience. Are there like certain reasons or experiences and things that like we might not be able to just stop when it comes to why we can't lose weight or whatever, if that makes sense? I don't know if I phrased that correctly. Sure, like I have a chronic illness that makes it harder for me to exercise as frequently as I need to sometimes, and that's just something I've had to learn to work around. It's not something I was able to just like change, right? But I was able to change how I eat, what I eat, all of that kind of stuff. And so there's ways to work around it, and saying that the statistic that 99% of the time it's calories in, calories out is just false and cherry picked. I don't know the actual statistic, right? But like most of the time, if not all of the time, that is what works. And is it easier said than done? Absolutely. I say all the time that weight loss is easier in theory than it is in practice, right? And that is something that I think a lot of people who talk about weight loss or fat activism maybe don't give a lot of grace to people about, is that it is a huge mental change. And for some people, their brain just isn't black and white, like, okay, this isn't working, I need to do this. There are a lot of psychological factors and emotional factors and things like that when it comes to weight loss. And I mean, I say it's like 80% mental, because it is a huge mental journey to go on. But this creator taking that and just saying because of that it can't be done is just false. Like, most of the time, like I said, if not all of the time, it is just calories in versus calories out. That's just science. And I did think it was funny that this creator was saying that the comment creator said that that person was projecting all of their insecurities and fat phobia and diet culture onto the creator, when I think any video I've seen from this creator very much is just projection on their end, with their opinions about diet culture and all of that. And yeah, so again, the video that I featured with this creator in my last fat activism reaction was very similar. And I have thought it was interesting that the consent phrase was brought up again. And I really think this is kind of how I think they're moving away from using like the mythical fat black queer women that supposedly started the fat activism movement. They didn't, by the way, but I think they're moving away from that because I think it has been debunked enough times that they just can't use it anymore. And now they're using words like harassment and consent to get people riled up, right? Even though I personally do not think it is the correct use of either of those phrases. Being people on the internet, being public figures, sharing your opinions. So yeah, let's move on to the next one.
When I see a skinny person in a bathing suit, I'm like, ugh. Why can I see all your bones? Why are your bones trying to break out of your body? Do you eat? It's gross and I'm concerned. I just saw pictures of like Kate Hudson and Dakota Johnson on a yacht, and I was like, is that what you wanted to look like? And listen, all bodies are beautiful and all that, but like my whole life, like it is okay for people to say things like my partner is unattractive to me because they got fat. So why can't I say what I truly believe, which is that if you are skinny, your body looks gross to me. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's so pointy and jagged and you can see all your muscles and you're so skinny. Ugh. Eat something. I'm like, that's gross. I like when skinny people date each other because it's like, yeah, you guys can clink and clack over there. Ew.
Just for context, on this video, it says, unlearned fat phobia so hard I became skinny phobic. I don't think this is a new concept whatsoever when it comes to fat activism, people on TikTok. I don't know this creator. I don't know if that's primarily what they talk about or not, but this came up on my For You page. Some people had tagged me in it, so I wanted to talk about it because this is like a prime example of what I talk about in a lot of my videos on this topic about how fat activism has created this whole us versus them mentality about fat people versus thin people. They won't like outright, I mean, some of them do. Some of them do come out and say this, but a lot of them don't outright come out and say, I hate skinny people. I don't like thin people. Although I have been seeing, like I said, I have been seeing an increasing amount of that, honestly. But like, this is just like a prime example of that, right? And I love how this creator uses the example of she understands when people say, I'm not attracted to my partner anymore because they gained weight. So why can't I say that people who are skinnier don't look good to me? It's because it's okay to have preferences, okay? I have certain physical preferences, everybody does, and it's hard to explain why, right? But when you become hateful against people who are not in those preferences of what you find attractive, that's the issue. And that's the issue with people who don't find fat people attractive. I don't care if you don't find me attractive because I'm fat. What I do care about is how you treat me, even though you're not attracted to me, right? And so I think this is another prime example of that, like just dogging on thin women, a woman going against other women just because they're thin. Again, I personally think fat activism is inherently anti-feminist. I have a whole video on that, and I still stand by that because it is primarily women and femme-presenting people dogging on other women and femme-presenting people for what they choose to do with their body or not. When I talk about fat activists, I don't care if you stay fat. I really don't care. It doesn't affect me. Like, I don't care. What I do care is when you start spreading false information and hateful rhetoric like this online. I just think this is so unnecessary. I just thought this was a wild take because it's just so hypocritical, and it's doing what people do to fat people, but to thin people. And I don't think that helps solve the problem or helps the cause at all. Okay, so that is where I'm going to cut it today. It's a little bit of a shorter one, sorry. Thank you so much to Balessa for sponsoring today's video. And if you made it this far, leave a music emoji because I just got off of a week of seeing a bunch of different concerts. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds if you need them, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.